Welcome to the Stockbridge Bowl Stewardship Committee, and let me read the prologue, or whatever this may be called. Pursuant to MGLC 30A 20F, after notifying the chair of the public body, any person may record or transmit this open meeting. This hybrid meeting is being recorded by the town of Stockbridge. The names of the members participating remotely will be announced. Any member of the public wishing to speak must first receive permission from the chair. The agenda items listed are those reasonably anticipated by the chair, but not all may be discussed. And other topics not listed may be brought up for discussion by the public body as permitted by law. All right, welcome everybody. And I see we have a large audience here.
We got an email, Michael, I don't know if you saw it.
No.
Gary Kleinerman saying.
Yes.
Kayaker reported seeing a dead eagle on the island.
Right. Really? And they're sending somebody.
Wildlife.
Mess, right. So we'll just have to wait until we get more information, I would imagine.
I saw the eagle.
You did?
Yeah.
Hold on a
There's
second.
one still alive, apparently.
Yeah, it was yesterday afternoon.
Yeah.
No, yesterday morning I saw him.
Bummer.
My Zoom doesn't seem to, oh, there.
Who knows?
All right. I don't know if everybody received the minutes. Sally wrote up these minutes, and Fred, Don, you said that you didn't see them, right?
I just saw them. I just read them now.
You read them?
Yeah, they're fine.
They're good.
Yeah. Is everybody,
So good, Sally.
are we willing to accept the minutes? Is there a vote, a motion to accept the minutes?
So moved.
All right, I agree. Thank you, Sally. Thank you very much, really.
Don't go away again.
Well, I think he needs a vacation every once in a while from this.
Yeah.
Anyway, are there any updates or announcements that anybody wants to make?
I made the one about the eagle.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, and also, they've just reported that they have a cyanobacteria outbreak at Pontusic.
Well, I was going to get to that in a minute, but thank you. We can, don't forget that.
How was the Josh Billings?
Good.
It was very good.
They had 300 and some odd teams, and so they were really excited.
Yeah. And there were no problems.
And there were no
At least
problems.
on the lake, there were no problems.
Nope, there were no problems. My husband said he didn't hear of any accidents or any issues, and everybody was happy, and the weather was absolutely perfect. And it wasn't too hot, it wasn't too cold, it wasn't windy, it was absolutely ideal. And they are very much hoping that because they've been having dwindling participants for a few years, which has been worrisome at best. So being back at Tanglewood, I think, was a big thing. And
I think being back at Tanglewood also was very uplifting to bringing people in, I would
yes,
imagine.
oh, I agree. I mean, they tried everything, and Camp Mackinac did their best to host us.
Right.
And it just is not an ideal location. It isn't that the campus isn't fabulous.
Do you know if this is just a one-off in terms of,
We
or
think that it's good.
you really think it's good?
Bobby Lawhart was happy.
Okay.
Yay.
I just, right. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, that's really it. You know,
Since Gary isn't here, I'm just going to talk about the harvesters a second. We're basically at the end of our season with the harvester, and we're using it for a couple of weeks, clear out as many invasives as we can. And hopefully we'll continue to do that for the next couple of weeks. And then it's out for the season.
Yeah. And we, the other issue, we pulled the buoys on
Say that-
Saturday. We pulled the marble buoys on Saturday.
The 300-foot
Yeah.
ones that are, right. All right.
my husband will be happy to
So
hear that.
I want to bring up something that I think is really important for this committee, and that is the mission statement. Because after listening to last week's meeting and reading the minutes, there seems to be a difference of, hold on a second. There seems to be a difference of point of views on our mission statement. And it's very important that our mission statement, that everyone basically agrees to it. And I'm just going to share it.
Didn't you find two different ones?
No, Michael asked me to write one last week, so I wrote one.
Right, no. I apologize. What happened was I didn't realize there was one.
Yeah.
I had overlooked, for some reason I had forgotten that there was one. And there's one that's officially there from the bylaws. And I just want to bring it up because it really goes against some of the things that we discussed. And I just want to make sure we're all clear on it. So
But we can
does
always,
everybody have the bylaws with them?
no,
I'm reading what you sent.
you can always revise the mission statement.
I mean, when I looked at that one, the only issue about it, I think, is that it doesn't say anything about like
I don't
safety,
know how to.
like boating safety, swimming safety. Our
Right.
mission
Right.
is the natural beauty of the lake and the
Right.
watershed.
But there's more.
Sally, do you know how to use this to share?
No. You don't.
All right, well, I'm going to read the bylaws then. Who doesn't have the
We need
bylaws?
Tom's
You mean the
husband,
mission
that's what we need.
statement?
Excuse
Yeah,
me?
You mean
we
the
need
mission
Tom's husband. He's the one who knows how to do
Right.
these things.
So I just want to, I wanted to put it up on, because I really think it's critical that, that we agree on this. And I spoke to Michael Canales about it. And the mission statement says, the Stockbridge Bowls Stewardship Commission shall act as an advisory group to the Stockbridge Board of Selectmen to preserve and protect the Stockbridge Bowl, Lake Mackinac, its watershed and ecosystem by utilizing unified scientific information collected by the Stockbridge Bowl Stewardship Committee. Very simple, right to the point. And the reason I bring this up is because in our last meeting, when we were talking about certain subjects, which we will get to, there seemed to be an issue of water capacity, price, cost, all these different issues of why we should wait up before we recommend this to the Board of Selectmen, to the Select Board. And what I'd like to discuss is this, to me, and we'll go around, this statement says that we are just advisors. We are not analyzers. The analyzing has to be done by the town, by the select board, whether it's too expensive, whether there's capacity, whether there are issues that prevent our advice or consultation to them and whether to be accepted by them. So that being said, I just want to say, when we say we might need town sewer in the west side of the lake, I think that that pretty much is a open statement of necessity, of advice. In other words, we are very concerned about runoff in the lawns, and we're on top of the ground. We should be just as concerned of runoffs below the ground. It's just a different way of nutrients getting into the water. I emailed Mr. Campetti, who's in charge of the sewer department. And I sent him an email which says, there seems to be confusion about capacity should a sewer line be placed in Lake Drive Association and the western part of the bowl. Stockbridge Bowl Stewardship Committee is concerned about capacity. And he wrote me back, morning, Michael. Yes, we can, but rest assured the plant has the capacity to do the Lake Drive area. I was hoping he would say the whole west, but probably 70% of the homes are in the Lake Drive area, I would say, I'm just guessing. But the point what I'm trying to get to is I think we all have to come to an agreement that our job is to recommend what we think would be healthy for the lake, but not analyze or hold back because we think there could be conflicts due to procedure or cost or any of that. So I open it up to anyone to discuss.
I think it's unwise to make a recommendation that we aren't better informed about.
That's what we said last week.
Yeah.
We're not ready to do that, I don't think.
And the other thing is that by the time you hit the end of Lake Drive, which is well populated, almost, I think I could say all of the homes between Lake Drive and Gould Meadows are big tracts of land that have already septic system. So they may not even need to be connected. So that's a thing.
I don't disagree with anything you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure that follows our mission, or else we'll never get recommendations. We'll find holes in almost anything that we do. Sally.
But there's a big
Yeah.
difference, I think, between saying in places where we know that we have septic system failures, that we recommend sewering, and saying that we want the whole west side of the lake sewered.
Well, it's to provide the option of going on a sewer, not necessarily requiring that people go on the sewer. Because if I recall correctly, this was almost sort of before my time, but when the sewer went by our house, my parents were given the option of connecting, and they actually had to pay an additional fee for that connection, which they at the time gladly did. So there are those that if the sewer goes by, if there's people who don't want it, they don't have to do it,
Right.
you know, and
Sally, those that need it probably the most are in the southern part
Right.
of the, in the outlet in the southern part.
But
But
Mike, any of this have to do with our mission statement?
well, in other words, yes, I think it does.
Because the mission statement says utilizing
Right.
unified scientific information.
Right.
And you're asking us to make a recommendation with no real information about
Correct.
what is the capacity of the system, how much will this add to the capacity?
And
I
it's
think
not-
costs have to be factored into it, because if we bankrupt the town, we're not helping the lake.
But we don't.
Right.
But we'll vote on that.
Right.
Michael, may I speak?
And
Sure.
can I ask just one other question, is what is the urgency to make this recommendation
Right.
now, when this process is so early on that it's not even being,
Right.
it's barely being discussed?
And I don't know why it needs to be so specific in our mission statement.
Because it's specific, I'm sorry, I'll be right there. Because it's around the lake. Our job is to protect the lake.
But you're-
You have to be specific.
But you're being very specific about a particular section on the lake.
What part?
You're talking about Lake Drive.
No, I'm not. I can't talk about Lake Drive. I'm talking about no, I apologize. I cannot talk about Lake Drive specifically. I'm talking about the west side of the lake. The west side of the lake was not town sewered. The east side was totally town sewered. And I believe, Sally, you can help me out on this. The original idea was to do the whole lake.
Right, they never came by my house,
Right.
and then up to White Pines
Right.
and Camp and Wheatley at the time. It was always discussed. And then it was, the town said, we're going up to the causeway.
Right.
That's
that
it.
it?
So you've got all these very large, Tanglewood, you've got all these very large properties. And, you know, they're never going to get connected.
And what's your point so I can understand?
I just feel like this is very specific to a certain section of the lake. If we want to say the entire lake,
Better. I'm in your camp.
you know, I just don't want to be that specific in a mission statement.
Well,
I think a mission statement should be pretty general.
Well, Phil, who was, Phil?
Are we, let me ask just, I mean, are we discussing the mission statement here or are we discussing the sewer project?
Yeah, let's talk about the mission statement.
That's
Right.
I think-
two.
The mission statement discussion.
Hold on a second. Tom?
Yeah.
Phil has the floor.
I think Michael is tying the mission statement to the sewer project because he's asking, what does it mean to be an advisor and a recommender? Should we be holding back until all of the information is available to us? And I think that on the sewer is a great example of a fairly complex, to the extent I understand it as the newbie around here, is a fairly complex proposition about how to dimension what we're recommending, how to deal with the fact that in the lake management plan, there's an observation about two sets of experts who disagree on the significance of septic tank phosphorus loading. So we've got to sort some of that out before we take a responsible position and make a recommendation. I don't have any problem, Michael, with the mission statement if we're not compelled by it to make blind, quick recommendations to get something on the table. I don't think that's the place we want to be. I think we want to make responsible, balanced, or at least consider the pros and cons enough to know that we're taking a reasonable position before we make a public recommendation and ask the select board and the town administration to follow through with funds and behind it and decisions supporting it.
Do we know that there's phosphorus loading?
No, we don't. So
I don't-
If you read the limnology report,
Yeah.
most of the phosphorus loading is coming from the bottom of the lake.
Right.
Not from the runoff.
That is,
Dead vegetation at the bottom of the lake.
that is very true. That is right. But what I'm trying, okay, I'm not going to defend my position. I'm just saying that I don't think we're capable as a group to get all this scientific information and in order to make a presentation of depth like we're talking about. Otherwise, we can't make any recommendations. So basically, when I read Michael Canalis's, we're serving as a body, as an advisory body to the select board on matters related to the Stockbridge Bowl and its watershed.
But the whole point of having an advisory committee is so that the select board does not have to go wading into all of this, that we are the ones to wade into it and maybe find the information that we're looking for. We know that phosphorus is not the problem that it used to be because there's no phosphorus in laundry detergents, for instance, and most cleaning products don't have phosphorus in it. Are we saying there's no phosphorus coming in from above the lake? I don't know, but I don't know.
Right.
And as Tom said, the limnologist said that the phosphorus loading in the lake is coming from the bottom, not from the top. So if we get worried about that, then maybe we're not worrying about the right thing.
Well, according to the lake management plan, most of the phosphorus, most of the things is from natural decomposing of the plant life. That absolutely. But I don't think that because it's not number one, that it's not a. Let me just read one more thing from Michael Canalis. If everyone read, when Michael Canalis sent us the report, his point of view on roles and responsibilities of the SBSC, his first one was project execution, implements. So the project execution, this is for the select board, their mission, the select board's mission, to project execution in bold. Implement select board approved projects such as dredging, aquatic weed control, water quality monitoring, and infrastructure maintenance. In other words, I read it that it's really might not be our job to get all the information and how it's done. I think it's more to open up to let them know what they should be working on. And they can very easily, if they vote it down, they vote it down. But I believe that it's imperative that if we feel that town sewer for areas around the whole lake, and the east side is already done, then that's something that we should recommend to them. If we feel that it's not that important or it shouldn't be recommended, well, let's,
But I guess my issue is that I don't know if it's important or not until I have more information about the impact of it, where current things stand, what this would add to the sewer. Like, for example, I would need to know what's the capacity of the sewer system right now? How much would adding Lake Drive increase the capacity? Because there's a limit. If it hits 80%, we have to build a new sewer system.
I just read, Michael.
But he didn't give you any.
Otherwise, we're going to go in circles.
You know, it's like, you're like the Supreme Court, setting these these little things out.
I
We need
still-
information to make, and if my advisory committee said, well, we didn't really look into this, we just think it's a good idea, I tell them to go jump in the lake.
Right. I still
agree.
don't think it belongs in the mission statement. I think it's another topic for us to discuss. And then we can make the appropriate recommendation or not.
So do we want to vote to table this?
I would,
For another-
I would vote that we speak to the sewer committee and get some more information so we can make a decision.
And they've done water testing. They do water testing. And I would assume that part of their water testing would tell them if there is phosphorus coming into the lake in certain areas.
I don't know if it's just phosphorus. I know there are nutrients going out there.
Well, there are nutrients.
So when you say phosphorus, I'm not a scientist to know enough, but I know that this has been an issue. It was supposed to be the whole lake that was going to be town sewer, and they stopped at a certain point. There was going to be a point where they were going to dig out the silt, and they stopped. There was a point where we gave the lake management plan to the select board, and I could show, and they stopped. So all we can do is give them a heads up that we're interested in seeing this being looked into. And if our committee feels that it's something not that important,
Well, we're not saying that, Michael.
No.
We're saying we don't have the
I mean,
information to make the decision right now.
no, I apologize. I said it wrong. If it should be tabled,
I think that Lori and Tom and I are all saying the same thing, that we do not have the information
Should be looked into.
It should be looked
necessary
into, but we don't have the information.
to
Right.
say, yes, you should do this, no, you shouldn't do this. And I think the only point of having an advisory committee is to take that load off the select board. They've got lots of things to think about and decisions to make. And if the committee, it's like the CPC and town meeting. We've done the work. We've done the research. We take it to town meeting. We say, these are the things we recommend. And by gosh, they have never voted us down once because they feel like we've done our homework. We've done our research. We've looked at every aspect of each project. We've talked to town council. We've talked to the historic commission, and we've provided them with a package that we think financially works. So I think we need to do the same thing. I think we need to, there are lots of reports out there, people reporting all the time. Now, maybe we need to ask for some additional information from people who can give it to us, like Water and Sewer, who does water testing, if there are things that we need to know. And then I think we can go to the select board and say, hey, we really think that this is something that's important and you should
Okay.
talk about, because ultimately it's their decision. But if we don't give them information, then what good are we?
all right.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean,
So I don't think we should table this. I think we should, our action.
Yes, I don't
be
think we should
gather more
table it either.
information.
Well, until we get more information.
Statement. That's
Well,
And then we got to go back and talk about the mission statement.
why,
Bill?
I think,
I think this is nothing. to do with this.
I think this is a perfect example of one of the topics that we were going to separate out among members of the board and have people responsible for gathering enough information to present back to the group and make a decision to, at least to provide some reasonable support for a position we're taking publicly and pushing the select board to follow through on. I'm happy to work on this one, Michael.
Right. I appreciate that.
can I ask Phil,
Yeah.
from a legal perspective, the mission statement, the way it's written, or if we tweak it a little, Tom tweaked it, I tweaked it, is that okay? And does that cover us as opposed to, it seems like Michael wants to add another sentence or two about the sewer or whatever. Does that go in the mission statement? That's my question.
I don't want to add anything in the mission statement with sewer.
So we just kind of like,
A mission statement is separate. The sewer is
so-
just a topic that I'm
Right.
trying to bring up and discuss.
but I thought the
Oh,
topic was the mission statement. Did we all approve the mission?
right. I was just giving an example of where I thought when we were discussing the sewer, so I apologize. No, the mission statement is a standalone statement.
That's all I wanted to
Yeah,
hear.
yeah, it's a standalone
Went
statement.
this way, and I thought you wanted to include it based upon
No,
what you
no,
were saying.
no.
May I?
That wouldn't make sense because there are different other topics worthy of discussion. That
Right.
you couldn't include it in the general overarching mission statement. That doesn't make sense. So I think we're all in agreement on that. I do
Right.
have a question about what unified scientific information is, because we're hemming ourselves in by those words.
Can I suggest that? I mean, it's our objective to provide advice to the select board. In doing so, I don't think we should make wild ass guesses, but nevertheless, I think our statement should be relatively well informed. There'll always be more information that can be gotten and all the T's crossed, I's dotted and all that sort of stuff. But I think a reasonable insight, reasonable research, and I think that's sufficient to make a recommendation that at least the select board consider this, and then we can ask for more research.
Okay.
Does that
Well, I
sound?
think
Oh,
that
sounds good.
the things that you identified, Michael, to
Yeah.
begin with, as are the things that we should start looking at. I think there were 6 or 7, now I've forgotten how many,
Right.
were really important pieces to the puzzle. And each one, I don't know which one I would put at the top because it would sort of depend, I think. But I think as a whole, that putting that information together is what we need to be thinking about.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. So let me take the next step. Are there volunteers that wish to get into this subject matter and report back on findings of whether this makes logic to advise the town?
Didn't we already?
Well, I don't know.
I'll do the water testing part. I was going to do that anyway, so I'm
Yeah,
happy to do
I was
that.
going to ask you, Tom, if you got all that.
I'm happy to talk to Leah Dici from the Sewer Commission.
Yeah. I mean,
To
Dr. Yun.
Tony Campetti.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, 'cause I think I think in general, yes, having sewers is a good idea, right? Everybody who's going
Right.
to disagree.
I think we all agree on
Right.
that.
But it's the devil's in the details.
Correct.
And we got to get some details before we
And
put our-
Lori brought up an interesting point, White Pines.
There's White Pines,
I don't
Tanglewood,
know,
and Camp,
I don't know,
Yeah.
and those
and
could,
Tanglewood,
those could tip the scale.
big time.
Yeah.
And I know years ago, it was going to be a fortune for them to connect to the sewer. And they
Yeah,
all
so
said,
I'll-
no.
Doesn't Tanglewood go to Lennox? Sewer?
No,
The sewer?
Cropalo does. No, Cropalo does not,
but
actually.
I think Tanglewood does.
I
Well,
think
Cropala, that's another question.
Cropalo has stated not too long ago that their septic system had about 10 years, and that was a while ago. They've, that big bump that's next to PCD is their septic
Let
system.
me ask you a question. I see, like, we talk about the finance, and then I'm going to go on to the next issue that it's just a points that I'm going to bring up is, are we going to look at finances too? Whether it's too expensive to do? Is that something, or is it just science?
That's
No,
our
that's
role.
not our job,
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Because I hear, well, it's too expensive, or
It's not our,
but it
All right.
might. but
Just want to make sure.
It's got to factor in too. I mean,
Yeah,
it's your job to figure that out, but
How are you going to
it's
do
going to
that?
push
Sal?
us into,
Well, because you asked the sewer committee and you asked
Yeah.
the sewer commissioner, what would this
Right.
cost?
yeah,
And they say, oh, it's going to cost us, we think this much money. And then we have that information.
right.
and we,
Right.
Who's going to assume the burden?
What?
Who's going to assume the burden? I mean, thinking
Taxpayers.
through some of these basic questions before we tee it up with the select board, I think we're all in agreement. There's a group of people in the town who are knowledgeable about pieces of this. They ought to be consulted. It is not going to be a perfect scientifically based conclusion on our part, but it would be a responsible recommendation where we've run down the principal issues and have a view about those issues before we turn it loose.
Okay,
Yeah, that's good.
So,
Rachel?
so some of this work has already been done. The sewer department has a sewer needs analysis report. It is on their, on the website in their section. If you have insomnia, go for it. It's about 300 and something pages. I've read it. It looks at the different regions of the town that currently are not sewered and has a chart with different weightings of different factors, so you can look at that. And with rough estimates of costs when this report was done. So
And this is on the town website?
this is on the town website.
It's amazing what you find on the town website.
Exactly. I agree. So that's already been done, and the part of the west side of the Stockbridge Bowl is one of the top areas that they are considering, should they have the money and capacity to expand the sewer. So that part has been done for you if you decide that this is part of the mission in your analysis.
Thank you.
Good to know.
Yes,
But can I make a suggestion?
sure.
Some fool has to read it.
Well, I know I'm happy, I'll read it. But I have two suggestions. One is we need to go back to talking about the mission statement. The other is, we should have a meeting to talk about this sewer issue. Maybe our next meeting. And but have us kind of a brainstorming meeting where we ask about what are the kind of questions we need to think about? What are the bits of information we would like to know in order to make this decision? And then figure out how we're going to get that information. And maybe it exists already, and maybe we, but I think but that's a topic for an hour meeting.
And maybe invite people from sewer and water to attend and answer questions.
Yeah.
I will say that in their analysis, whether an area is near the lake or not has a very low weighting in when they decide it should be this neighborhood or that neighborhood. How they decided that, I have no idea. It's not in the report, but let's
Interesting.
say that they decided it didn't matter,
Right.
that there were other factors.
So I think the first thing, all of us need to read this report.
I don't remember. Not that old.
Okay.
Thank you, Rachel.
So statement.
What?
So I mean,
Mission
the issue,
statement.
the mission statement issue.
Can we go back to where we
Sure.
started?
So my only concern was, I wrote that mission statement just to write a mission statement. The one that's there, my only concern with it, it really says nothing about aquatic safety, about boating safety, swimming safety. That's none of our business, according to this mission statement. That probably doesn't make sense.
Well,
That
it
wasn't
makes sense
something we
until we can change
Well, we
it.
can change it. So the
Yeah,
question is.
but we have to wait. I think it has, I believe, I don't know, Sally
Imagine
can correct
if it's in
me.
the bylaws, it has to go to town meeting
To change the
to change the
mission
bylaws, because you
statement.
have to change the bylaws.
Yeah,
It's in the
Probably.
bylaws.
but it's done all
No.
the time. That's not
I
Right.
it's
don't
not big.
think so.
Maybe the
Because
select board?
it's a
I
bylaw.
think this select board approved emissions. I mean, we spent a lot of time working on the mission statement.
For Concom, you're saying?
No, for
For here?
for the original SBSC.
And it's fine. I mean, it's fine, but it's just, it sounds like we want to do more than just,
We went over it and over it and over it, and we picked it apart in every possible way. I don't remember that it had to go to town meeting. We could ask Michael,
Mhm.
but I don't, because I think we can decide, could be wrong on that. I think we can decide what our mission statement is. And then because we have ratified it, then it goes into the bylaw. I think,
It makes sense. What you're saying.
yeah.
so my only concern with that is that,
It's
if we
just-
want to talk about things like swimmers.
Yeah,
With
but if we're going
clothes
to
and stuff.
change the mission statement, then it would probably have to get changed in the bylaw.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah. But I don't think that the town votes on our mission statement. I think they vote on,
Let me just make sure, I apologize. I should ask, I'm going to talk to Michael Canales to see if we can add to the mission statement.
Yeah.
Because the mission statement on its own
Fine.
is basically there, is fine. What we want to do is add,
just a couple.
Tom, you want to add safety
Something
to it?
about, I think if we're going to advise us, we should have something about safety on the water.
Because when you think about town meeting, there are a lot of times where they have revised
Bylaw.
language
In the bylaws.
in a bylaw.
It's voted.
Mhm.
And I just don't remember that as being part of the process, having to go to town meeting and have it ratified. I think we ratify it, we say, this is our mission statement. And then because the bylaw was new, then the mission statement went into the bylaw.
Who wrote up this bylaw? Do you know? We didn't write it up.
No, we didn't.
We didn't write it up. And I was on the original one. It was written up then either by us.
Mission statement was.
No, it wasn't. I
Yeah,
don't-
we went over this a billion times with Roxanne. The
The mission statement?
Yeah. Yeah.
But the missions, all right. I don't remember that.
Yeah,
but-
I went through
take your word
all
for it.
my old stuff and I tried to find it and I couldn't, but I remember us tweaking that for meeting after meeting.
All right. So I'll ask Michael Canales.
Yeah, because if it's a major issue,
Yeah.
maybe you leave it alone.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm going to say that it probably doesn't even matter if we recommended, Don wrote a letter about the swimmers. And someone was going to look into where they want to know where they should put the signs. And so at your convenience, I think, Tom, did you do signs for some other,
I did the signs for the zebra mussels.
for the zebra mussels? So if you could just send me where you
All right.
put them, it would be greatly appreciated. The next thing that I wrote up was just something that I want to advise the highway department was that they should inspect the sluice gate. The sluice gate it controls we have had it it hasn't been touched probably for 4 years. And the problem is that it can get stuck or it can get frozen and it should be just looked at. So
Gary knows about that.
well, Gary sent me an email
Yeah.
that was saying nothing can go wrong. And I was explaining and I said, it already did go wrong a few times that we couldn't open it or close it. It got stuck. There was stuff in there
Yeah,
that
stuff
got stuck.
got stuck.
So it's just a question of them making sure once a year that it can be opened and closed.
Is it ever opened and closed anymore? Because it
No.
used to be.
But the reason I say that is I had at one point, I have a neighbor across from us and the lake was so high that it went to their house. And I had to ask the highway department to open it a little bit. This was maybe 6, 7, 8 years ago. So just in case, and at work, they used to say, well, Michael, what could go wrong? And it's usually the things you don't think of. I don't know what can go wrong, but it hasn't been opened at all for many years.
One of the provisions for the lake management is that there has to be sufficient outflow to maintain a certain level of water flowing down the brook. I do not know what that is.
Right.
Shep Evans always knew what that is, and sadly, Shep Evans is no longer with us.
I think Gary knows.
He might. And that's the only thing that I've ever really heard.
Right, that could
Stated.
mean opening up a little
Right,
bit
it
if
could.
in a dry
Very,
period.
very dry period.
Right.
It could mean that you have to open it in order to maintain
Right.
that river flow.
So that growing up in a factory, that mechanical thing, you just got to maintain. Very important. I'm going to go, anybody have any, the next thing I want to discuss was our budget. And I need, maybe this is a discussion
It's a
between,
account.
I think, no, I didn't do it.
Sally?
I'm sorry. I just
No.
I wanted to look at Tom's mission statement again and I
Oh.
don't have it on my,
We now have a $44,000 budget from what I understand, and it's for water testing
I did send it.
Only.
only.
It's here.
Yeah. Are you talking mission statement or?
Sorry.
Yes,
Yes.
Sorry,
Well, if I can get your attention here.
sorry.
got it.
Yeah. Because I think this is sort of important. We have a budget that was sort of put on us. I think it was probably like, and where can we put this $44,000? Let's put it on Stockbridge Bowl Stewardship Committee.
Sure.
And it's for water testing. And I had asked Tom to look into the water testing. One of the reasons that I think it's important is I think we should see if there's a pattern to the water testing of every year, to see how far back, if things are pretty much status quo. And the reason I say that is because this year, and we didn't know about it, we're not being informed that we had no money for the water chestnuts, taking out the water chestnut. SBA gave $10,000 for partial water chestnuts, but the water chestnuts were not taken out, were not totally, the whole project was only done in half.
Yeah.
And the claim was that the money had run out and we didn't, and the town didn't have the money. And my thinking is that, do we have any say on that budget? Because I think that we shake our heads, but we shouldn't shake our heads until we know that, because if it's in our name, although our name doesn't mean that much, but I was hoping that we could, if we see that $44,000 and every year for the last 10 years, everything is good, can we divert some of that for emergency funding, which is very important, like the proliferation of water chestnuts that we don't want?
Right. So there's a bigger issue with that though, which is that
Go ahead.
people who do it have shut their business down.
Yeah, no, I understand that. But
We'll do it, what?
Minor issue.
It was
Yes.
run by the lady who ran the dive shop in Midfield, and she's retired and moved to Florida.
Aquatic Roots is moving to North or South Carolina.
Somewhere, yeah.
Right. But that's neither here nor there to a point. We got to find somebody. And I spoke to Pat Kennelly that we have to get on it and find somebody. But the issue is that the town didn't have the money, and can it come from our budget? Is that something we should bring up to the select board?
I would think so.
Yeah.
I would think we should have some say in our budget.
Well, I was hoping, I just want to bring it up.
Sort of.
Phil, what do you think? Are you thinking?
Yeah, I totally agree. We should, it seems to me that we ought to have an amount, if possible, and allocate it to what we think is necessary as things evolve, as opposed to being hemmed into water testing alone for the entire amount. I would think Mike Canales has a sense of how that tweaking of fund usage gets done in the town. And maybe we can follow that path to broaden out what we can do.
Yeah, so that's why I think, like you were saying, let's go back to them with,
I got the limnology reports for the past from 2020.
from 2020.
But they're the ones from GZA. But then
Right.
other testing that's done.
Well, there's testing also done by the town, I believe, Mike Buffoni.
Right.
And also you could go to Stockbridge Bow Association, ask if they could give you the aquatic vegetation,
Yeah.
whatever. I don't know how that'll help or whatever, but you'll be able to
The
inform.
town, but you mean the Department of Health testing is separate from the
And
GZA.
yeah,
And which of those are we paying for? Do we know?
What?
Do we know which of those we're paying for?
we're paying, yes, not for the Solitude ones. We're paying for GZA
And the limnology.
and yeah, anything that is done by the town, Mike Buffoni, whatever,
I
yeah.
went in to see Michael Canales the other night and asked him for reports that he had received on the lake. He sent me 5 reports. I just sent it to everybody
Oh, thank you.
Just now?
just now.
All right.
I think they're the ones he sent, Michael.
But my understanding was that we have, the money that we have was spent before it was even allocated to us. So it's not like we have any, options on that.
Yeah,
I
but
think
that-
if we want to do something, we talked a while back about identifying what we might want to spend money on and going to the select board or Michael and saying, hey, we want to do this, that, or the other thing, and we think this is really important to our mission, and would you allocate $10,000 for us to use for whatever? I mean, obviously, we'd have to have some,
That was,
finances behind it,
right.
but I think
For a
if-
speaker.
No, right. Well, that was part of when I wrote in the last weeks, having people come in to educate us.
Right.
And that might cost money. And that's part of the budget. But it occurred to me when I realized that every year we're spending $40,000 or $44,000 on water testing and it's putting our name. Either we raise our voices and say, hey, if it's not, are all these tests important? Are all these, if they always show for the last 10 years, is there anything, we sort of like write a check to GZA, and I know GZA very well. You can write a check to GZA,
Yeah, well, the limnology reports are, we need to go over that in a meeting too, but they're basically, things haven't changed in the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, so do we need that whole thing if we don't have the funds for other things? The budget, I didn't think of this. The original budget was for what you're saying, to see if we needed money for speakers or for information or for whatever it is that we needed in order to further our mission. Lilybrook issue is, I put here that we'll continue the discussion at the next meeting. Because I think that's really a more difficult one. We're gonna have to look at what we have to do to make that a reality. And I think, Sally, we're gonna need your help, and we're gonna have to talk to
David?
David, right, Cameron. If we could have him come in, explain to us what that needs to be done. Is that a possibility? Could you have that?
I'm sure he would be happy to do it if he's free, but he does cost money.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
he's a hired consultant.
Between all of us, we're 9 people here. All right,
Yourself,
see what it costs us. The only way we can, see what that might cost us, a ballpark figure, so that we can go and ask for those funds. But I think he should come and talk to us about this, what it means.
Can I, a question on Lilybrook? So we're looking at the possibility, it was supposed to be a sump for silt coming
Yeah.
into the lake. And it was supposed to have been dredged or.
Every year.
And never was.
Well, it was, and then it stopped.
And it was, and then it stopped. But isn't the issue now that there is some sort of protected species?
There's
in there?
American bittern is in there, among other things.
Yeah,
I've
so
seen them.
that was my understanding, that was
That could be.
And who else
conundrum.
knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
And-
it's going to be, it's not,
We-
it's like I said at the last meeting, it's not that it can't be done, but I have a feeling it's going to be a big deal.
Yeah, but
And David will have the best advice as to how to go about it. It'll
Right.
have to be a restoration project. We'll have to make the case that it was it wasn't man-made, but it was man-intended, if you will. It's kind of like the fire pond at Campusa Bog, which has been kind of a nightmare, but it's been neglected for so long that what would have been an annual maintenance is
a simple annual.
not going to be a simple annual maintenance.
Right. But I gather from the feeling is that we all basically feel this isn't important enough for us to get information and seeing how we can go forward to
Absolutely.
do this. All right. The next thing I want to discuss, which really was a surprise to me.
I just asked one related to hiring consultants. If I talk to GZA about these limnology reports, do they is that something I can just do, or are they going to charge the town? Do we know?
To get the reports?
No, just, it's like to try to ask them some questions to clarify things.
Oh, that I don't, a good question. I think I think we're gonna have to.
I'll email Michael.
Yeah, would you?
I will.
Good question. I want to talk about probably the most important piece of a document that that our Stockbridge Bowl Stewardship Committee was really almost formed for, according to Michael Canales, was to write the lake management plan. And what caught me by surprise is that I looked at all the meetings, the memos, the minutes and the agendas of the Stockbridge, of the Select Board that concerned the lake management plan. And there are only two meetings. On December 8th of 2022, the Stockbridge Bowl received the lake management plan. Well, they received it before. It was sent on December 2nd, but they discussed it for the first time on December 8th, 2022. And they put it on hold because they wanted more information from David Cameron and from GZA. Or there were certain, because David Cameron had written a memo or his point of view of what we should add or what should have been added or why certain things should be worded, might be done differently. I have that. I can send it to everybody from David Cameron. You remember this?
He has bullet points and edits.
Yeah.
But I think that after that, it was adopted at least by the committee.
Yeah, the commission adopted it. There's a final adopt, I have it.
What?
I have it.
Yeah.
You have what?
The final approved by the Stockbridge Bowl Stewardship Commission.
Yes.
Yes.
Not draft.
No, hold on a second. We're talking two different things.
All right.
We absolutely did. That's why we sent it to the select board. We did approve it. We all approved it. We spent a lot. We spent almost $55,000 writing that thing. Sally, you remember, we went back and forth for weeks or many meetings, editing it, adding to it, putting in our point of view. All I'm saying is that it was sent to the select board. And at the select board level, nothing really was done.
You said there were two meetings, so there was
Yes.
one
on December 8th,
And one in
and the next one was on June 8th, 2023. And in that meeting, I'm going to read you, Patrick asked the status on recommendations from David Cameron to GZA on the lake management plan. Mike said he had not received anything back. Patrick would like it to get done. And that was the last time the lake management plan was discussed at a select board meeting. I was at a loss. There was nothing in those meetings that I saw that they had sent it on, or that to NHESP or whatever. I know it was sent to NHESP, but I think it was sent by our group, apparently,
supposedly it was sent by Michael.
Yeah,
or by Michael. Right.
it was sent.
It was sent, but it was never approved as a town.
Right, because they never got it back from NHG.
Well, this is where it gets tricky. And I was discussing with Mike. There's nothing in here that says we needed to get something back from NHESP. There's nothing in their discussions. I think that was sort of, in a way, and I could be totally wrong, a way of skirting that they didn't adopt the plan. But when you send something, I would imagine, Sally can correct me, the town has to approve it and then say, okay, this is our project. It's been approved based on, we can do changes, we can do amendments, but it can't, when you send it to an agency like NHESP, and I don't know what I'm talking about here, but I'm assuming that they're not just going to read everything that is sent to them.
Yeah, we talked about this.
Yeah, I did.
A while
I talked
ago.
about this a year ago. I researched all the same stuff and wrote a report.
And
Right.
It's in the
if
minutes.
they do not have, and I said this at the time, if they do not have an application in front of them.
I understand, but
They have absolutely no obligation to even look at it.
Yeah.
right. So, but I'm talking about now the select board. Do we go back to the select board and say, we want you to approve this as a town document? Doesn't matter.
Difference.
They still need
Well-
the application.
No, they don't.
No, well,
No, they don't. They can, this is something independent. This is.
Correct.
This is written for the town. It was requested by NHESP as part of the package that goes, but it's not something that they said, if we never had written one and never applied for anything, it wouldn't have made a difference.
right. But this ultimately has to go to the
DEP.
DEP, and I spoke to the DEP, and they said yes, because when I spoke to the women, I can talk to them again to find out, do we really need the NHESP approval to do this?
Yes.
Because they didn't say anything about that when I spoke to them. I didn't ask that specific question. But they basically said, yes, we see that this process was started,
Right.
but we never got the complete report. And then they read it, and if they approve it, it just gets posted to a website, is what happens. There's a list of towns you can go to that have their lake management plans already in place, and you can see which ones have been done. But they didn't say, but there's nothing in there that said any,
So is this,
either how to write one from the Department of Environmental Protection website. It didn't say anything about the NHESP.
Well, if,
NHESP has nothing to do with this lake
Why
management.
did we send it to them?
What?
Then
Well,
why did
they
we send
asked-
it?
I didn't, I have no idea. what-
But why did
because when we were talking about going forward with the dredging.
Right.
And the weed harvesting and generally taking care of the lake, Heritage wanted a lake management plan to be a comprehensive thing of what we wanted to do. So we didn't come back to them 47 times with 57 different little stupid projects. Maybe not stupid projects, but little projects that weren't important. Their sole reason for existing is endangered and threatened species. We have two endangered species in the lake. We have lots of endangered and threatened critters around the lake. We have eagles, we have American bitterns, we've got loons, we've got who knows what kind of dragonflies and frogs and other stuff that they know about. That they want to make sure that whatever it is that we're doing is going to not only protect the health of the lake, but protect the health of the critters that are in it. They don't care about boating. They don't care about your house. They don't care about anything. They only care about the habitat and health of the lake and the things that live in it. And so if and when we want to file a notice of intent as a foundation for that filing, we can say we have a lake management plan and this is it, and we have sent it to you. And it is included in our notice of intent as to our overall goals for the lake. And then they have 30 days to
So,
make a comment. But until then, there's no obligation for them to do anything.
I understand the process, but what I'm saying is, doesn't this have to be a town, like, this is our document, so it's approved by the select board? In other words, we're just we wrote this, we're an advisory thing. In other words, in many ways, this document may not mean anything unless it's approved by the select board, by saying, yes, this is our lake management plan. We voted on it. We agreed with it. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
And they haven't done that. That's all
That would be, they would be the ones who would be filing the notice of intent.
right.
Can we
So,
go back to them and ask them to?
This is what this is all about.
No, well,
So then let's-
Well,
Yeah.
I asked him a year ago, Michael said, you know, that's in front of the NESBP and it's not a big deal until we have the
Well, let's.
dredging project finished. I mean, I spoke to two people who were very helpful at the DEP back in December. I'll email and call them again and said, you know, with the specific questions, who has to approve this in our town? for it to go to you? Can it just be us? Does it have to be the select board? Does it have to be?
Has to be the
town
select
bylaw?
It's got to be the select
Well,
board.
maybe not, because this is, we don't know that, right?
Well,
We don't know.
it has to be the select board. Yeah,
We don't know.
okay. Well,
Because this is basically, when you look at this website, it's, and then I'll ask them specifically, do we need NHESP rule as part of this process before it goes to you?
They
So I'll
don't,
ask them those two
No.
questions.
Because they won't get it.
Yeah, well, I asked them those two questions, because if it doesn't matter about NHSBB, then yes, we should bring it to the select board and say, you need to vote on this.
I agree. What got me is that they mentioned it twice and it's
Right.
the most important thing that we as a group did.
Yeah.
And yet it was sort of put on the
Well, so do we
sideburn.
need to be a pain in the neck.
Yeah.
Well, Sally and I brought this up a
Sally.
year ago. They were like, well, yeah, it's been 2 years, so what?
They don't.
I'm like,
We need to come in, we need to ask to be put on the agenda.
Yeah.
yeah,
And we need to come in force and we need to sit up front and we need to say, we need you to approve or disapprove of the lake management
Right.
plan.
That's all I'm saying that I'm concerned that if we just send it, because anyone can send a lake management plan to them, it's got to be some official looking piece of paper. That's, yeah, bottom line.
Are we able to stand behind what's in the LMP, given that it's 3-ish years old?
You know,
So-
what?
I think so.
yeah.
I would,
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's-
I agree.
It's
That's okay
pretty up
with
to
me.
me, yeah.
Yeah, you know, if you look at we did one before, actually, it was done with the Stockbridge Bow Association and the town. I think the Fugro, 1994, 90 something,
96.
96. And it's not so dissimilar to this in the same issues, my gut feeling is that they want to see that we're addressed, that NHESP wants to, like Sally, I think was saying, that they want to see that we're addressing the issues. But I don't think they're going to edit it and say, well, I think you should put this in or that in. It's up to us to put it in if we want to change or do anything.
And it's really not a lake management plan, it's a watershed-based.
Yeah, but
That's what it's actually called.
yeah, it's not a dredging project. It's a restoration project, but easy to remember. All right. I think,
You need to determine future meetings.
future
Yes.
meetings, Michael.
I apologize.
So I will,
Yeah, I just want to summarize.
so I will speak to I'll email these women I spoke to at DEP with those questions.
Okay.
And then
Misty
I
Ann Merrill.
think that was one.
Now, Miss Ann Marrow's at NHESP, right?
This was Department of DEP.
Yeah.
And then I will,
Heritage is under DEP.
I will speak to the Department of Public Health about getting their water tests.
Okay.
And I'll send you the sign list.
Thank you. The next step of, Sally, I had sent you also some pamphlets that we did, that Roxanne did, and you want to let me know if that's something you want to work on as informational.
I thought they were pretty good.
They were very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was looking back at them and going, wow, that was good.
Yeah. So maybe it's something that we want to send every year
Well,
to,
there's a budget thing, we could get John Hart to,
right,
but then there you need money.
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
All right, well, I think there should be a group of us, of 2 of us or 3 of us, that discuss the budget and what we're going to need. So I think we have to be realistic about, well, or not. But I'd like to discuss, I don't even know how to discuss the budget of the $44,000. If anyone, I'm going to.
can't we get an accounting? Can't we ask Erica to give us how that money is spent? She's on top of everything. She'll figure it out. I'll send
Who is this?
Erica Olson, our finance wizard.
Treasurer? No. Accountant? No?
I don't think she's the accountant.
Treasurer?
They have an accountant. I don't know, she does everything. She's great. She's really good. She's really responsive when you ask her for something.
I don't mean to put this on, but you will ask Mr. Cameron what it would cost for him to come. Yeah, to talk, two things. Actually, I would love to hear. And one could be at a much later date, which is the the watershed, the lake management plan, his take on where he thought, or I'm going to send that to everybody, his points. I think I have them.
So I'll get some costs. I'll ask John and Mary what it would cost to print, I don't know, 150 of the pamphlets, for example.
Right.
Just to get some idea of what the cost might be.
Okay.
And I'll get a cost from David, how much
He would
he
charge
charges per hour.
Okay.
And he can do via Zoom too.
Absolutely.
So that makes his life.
Absolutely.
I think we're coming up against the select board.
I just have a quick request.
Yes.
On another topic, I'm requesting that the SBSC consider filing an official complaint with whatever agency is appropriate in Massachusetts against the floatplane that lands in the middle of the lake. Michael, as you referred to me in your discussion with the pilot, he likes to go lake hopping. And there's a lot of research, I've done this, that these floatplanes can in fact carry contaminants from one lake to another. And we are so far very lucky that we don't have zebra mussels and we don't have cyanobacteria, but that could change.
So,
But
Rachel, thank you.
know how to do that, right? We have to go to the town meeting and it has to be a bylaw.
What? For the,
To ban
To
the
prevent
lake,
planes.
to ban the lake. We
We
discussed
discussed
this.
this already.
Yeah.
I didn't get that take.
Yes, we have, no, we can ban them, right, Gary?
I didn't want to ban, I don't know if we
To
can,
the commission, right? And we can ban them, but it has to be a town bylaw.
Well, I think the point is well taken that they sort of violate the bylaw anyway because they don't get their
Not gonna-
pontoons inspected.
right.
But getting the communication to the pilots and the pilot association is why Bradley, I forget the organization at Bradley, said that we needed to pass a town bylaw, whereupon we would inform them it would be posted in their notice to airmen, which they're supposed to read, and then it would be chargeable, I guess. So I don't.
So we should,
Why would they be any different than anybody else that goes on the lake? Why should they have any sense of added layers of what we have to do than any other boat that goes on the lake?
Because they're not driving up to the boat launch and seeing a sign that says you have to be inspected.
Okay, so I sent the pilot the
The
signs, yeah, well, there's one person, and I asked him to please, basically, it's a question of trust. I mean, the whole system is basic.
Right.
And he said, I don't go to any other lakes, but I've heard from other people that fly with them that they all go,
right. So the thing to do is to ban them from landing.
well, that's a whole different thing.
We just, we create a bylaw and we send it to town meeting.
Yeah,
Write it
it's,
up.
No.
I'll write it up. Yeah.
I'll do that.
Yeah, all right, no, Phil's,
We have a lawyer.
But we haven't,
no, yeah, but you can't just pile it up on him.
Sure we can.
All right, so
Sally.
let's talk about the next meeting.
yes.
Yeah, because I think there's no one to complain to because they're allowed to land.
But they need to be inspected.
Yes,
Yes.
but they go from lake to lake, so they're not being inspected.
They're not being inspected and they should be inspected. And he said to me, if they want to inspect me, they have to swim out to my boat, to my plane.
So you ban them.
And then he got into this
Yeah,
crazy foul, like
Yeah.
cursing and
You
whatever.
ban them. That's what you do, right?
Oh, you know him?
No, but that's what we do.
But that's
right?
what
We
you have to
tried,
do.
So that's what we
But
do.
it would be, yeah, okay.
So I asked him to please go to the shed, fill out the forms at least,
Yeah.
do that. that you haven't been in any other body of water, you know, what everyone else has to do. Anyway, so let's talk about a date.
Yeah, so I have in my calendar the second Tuesday for the rest of the year.
Is that what we're doing?
That's what we used to do.
Tuesdays or Thursdays?
I mean,
No,
Thursday.
Thursday. I was going to say
So I have,
Thursday's
yeah.
conservation.
Yeah, so I have the 9th of October, the 11th of November.
Wait, 9th of, okay.
If we talked about going back to once a month, starting October.
Right. And then November 13th,
And then November
13th.
13th and December.
October is only one date, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
we're going back to once a month. We talked.
Right. Well, that'll be interesting.
And
And then December 11th.
December 11th.
I think we have to wrap it up.
And-
No, it is, this is it.
Yeah, and then January 8th.
Okay.
So what are the dates? The 9th?
The 9th, the 13th of October.
11th and 8th.
You got that?
No, not, yeah, the 11th.
No,
I have October 9th, November 13th, December 11th, and
No,
January
November.
what?
I'm sorry, it's November 11th.
November,
November 11th.
11/11.
And then.
no, November 11th is.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's
is
December 11th.
Tuesday.
December 11th.
What is November, please?
The 13th,
13th, that's what I had. December 11th, and what in January?
January 8th.
January 8th.
January 8th.
Okay, October,
These are all Thursdays.
These are all Thursdays.
Yes.
Yeah.
October, what's the October
Okay,
one?
October 9th,
October 9th, okay.
November 11th, November
November
13th, December 11th, and January 8th.
Okay.
The second.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
Sorry.
Have a good weekend.
Thank you, you too.